Hello, Internet. I like trying new weapons, so I put a new weapon on this build. I've had this build for a while, and it's a pretty fun build. But the DLC came out, and there's new dex weapons, so I decided to put new dex weapons on this build. And one of them is the Messmer Spear. There's a lot of new weapons in the DLC I want to try. The sword you see in this, I want to try it, but I want to try it after they fix it, because of the grab attack being so weird. You can see there I rolled, but I still got grabbed. Which is interesting, and I hope they change that. Anyways, I also fought him with the deflection tier. There is a lot of his attacks you can deflect. You can pretty much deflect any physical attack. There's two you can, but you don't want to do. The one where he spins in a circle with the spear and then grinds it on the ground and thrusts it towards you. You can deflect those, but you'll be sent rolling back, so it's not a good idea. I learned a lot though fighting him on this character. It took me like 60 tries to kill him. I wasn't recording all of them. It was only till I got like, I want to say like 10, 15 in that I started recording. But he's a pretty difficult boss. My first playthrough, I got steamrolled him really. I had dual great katanas and a new spear dash, and so it wasn't really that challenging of a fight, but it took me a while on this character. But I learned a lot. I learned that pretty much for all his attacks, you want to stay close to him. His attacks are really designed to roll kick people that have conditioned themselves to roll away, and you can pretty much ignore all of those if you just roll into him. You still gotta get the timings right and everything, but as long as you're just near him, you'll pretty much be fine. Anyways, let's start talking about this weapon. I think I've seen a lot of people use this weapon, and some people complain that it's one of the new spammable Ashes of War, which makes sense. It looks pretty flashy, so you're gonna see a lot of PvEers using it just because the way it looks. I decided I wanted to use it though because when I saw Messmer do the Ash of War, I kind of assumed, I bet that it's probably gonna be good at trying to punish people that want to backstab punish you, and it is. It doesn't really work all the time. It depends. The finishing part, the third part of the Ash of War, you can do 3 parts. You tap the button 3 times, and if you finish it, it's about a 50-50 chance, I want to say, if the person you're fighting will get hit by the third part. It really depends. If they roll away from you, you're probably not going to land it. But if they try to roll in to backstab punish you, or if they're just panic rolling, it has a pretty much a guaranteed chance to land. It's almost kind of like the Morn's weapon art from Dark Souls 3, the Morn's Hammer. In that game, if you did the Morn's Hammer weapon art, it would charge up a big explosion. And you could backstab punish that, but it wasn't really recommended. It's like, yeah, sure you could, but if you missed, you would take a lot of damage. And I almost think the Ash of War here on the Messmer Spear is a similar situation, to where you can punish it sometimes, I think, but you really don't want to try, because if you do, you're going to take a lot of damage. This weapon, though, is not without its flaws. The R2 on it, the toss, I think it's cool that we have a unique R2 on the weapon. I like when they add stuff like that, where you get unique attacks that encourage you to use the weapon. But the fucking throw on this thing is horrible, man. You would think it'd be nice in a chase down, but it's really not. And there's also just better chase down options. Like, in this game, you have tons of chase down options. You got fucking halberds, thrusting swords, heavy thrusting swords. Fucking, you can go the classic Dark Souls 3 route, get a spear or a katana. Like, you have just better chase down options, and I don't see the reason to use the throwing attack on this spear. I wish it was good. It's a cool looking move. I like that you toss it and all that. Like, I think that part looks cool, the animation. But in reality, it just doesn't land at all. And maybe if you have someone that's really panicking, you get them to get caught by this, but if the person even like knows slightly when to roll, they're never gonna get hit by this. And you know, it's almost the same in the Messmer fight. When Messmer throws a spear at you, that move isn't very hard to dodge when Messmer does that. In fact, I want to say it's one of his easier attacks to punish because he's in the air for so long you have time to think about what he's going to do. Another thing that I've been thinking about with this weapon is the wake-up potential, specifically the Ash of War. Going back to what I said about the 50-50 and landing the third part of the Ash of War, I think if you're trying to punish someone on a wake-up with the full Ash of War, you're not going to be able to punish them. Like if you backstab them or they get grabbed in a grab attack and you need a wake-up, don't do the third part. Do the first and second, but then don't do the third, and if they're still alive, just run at them into like an R1. Definitely don't do an R2. But this weapon is overall a pretty fun weapon. I think it looks cool, and that's why a lot of people are going to use it, I think. But for me, I think it has good moves. See here, I hit the second part, but I don't hit the third part. And also, the recovery on the third part is insane. I try to do a throwing fan dagger there to kill the Phantom, and that just does not work out. This invasion you're seeing right here is the one we're going to see the most footage of. The other ones I cut clips from because they just weren't interesting enough as a full invasion to show. You know, it was just really the highlights. But this one was, one of my first after, getting done with the DLC and stuff and trying out weapons. And it reminded me about how slow PvEers can be, or how apprehensive they can be to charge at you. You know, like, I'd forgotten this because, I had a couple of days before the DLC, I've been helping people kill Moog, and then, the DLC came out, and then I played it. And so getting back into invasions, I kind of just forgot how slow PvEers can be at charging at you. And in this invasion, I'm level 80 plus 15. I had to bring this build from 65 plus 12 to 80 plus 15 to use this weapon and the other stuff I wanted to keep on the build but also add to it. And so in invasions, when you invade a host, they can be somewhat below your level or somewhat above your level. And I'm assuming this host is like somewhat above my level. He might be 80, he might be 90. But, I assume this because, he has the Rivers of Blood, he can wear the scaled armor. And they're in the village of Albanerics, which is in Liurnia, a little area, but most people might miss this area because it's kind of secrety. And also, there's no real need to go to it immediately. Because the thing that's most important here is getting the other half of the Helictree medallion. And I assume that's what this host wants to do. He wants to go to concentrated snowfields so he can get to, Melania or something later on. But what I'm saying is, they're high enough level to where the mobs here aren't a threat. Not even the boss here is a threat. The boss here is an Omen Killer with 2 dogs, reminiscent of fucking Dark Souls 1. But, it's not a threat at all. The host can probably kill the Omen Killer in 3-4 hits at this level, right? He's high enough to where it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's so apprehensive to chase me down. The Phantom isn't. The Phantom kind of backpedals a bit. But I assume that's because he wants to stay near the host. The Phantom is perfectly fine chasing me down. He's not doing a very good job of it, but at least he's trying. This host, though, just does not want to come over. Which almost had me thinking, I was like, I wonder if this is his first playthrough, he just doesn't know what's over there. Which is fair enough, I guess, but, I would, if I were him, I would have assumed that it wouldn't be a threat, because it's the level and everything, but, it was weird. A thing that stood out to me, I guess. It doesn't really anymore, watching this clip back, I'm not surprised. But at the time of the invasion, it really did stand out. I was just very confused on why he did not want to chase me. This Phantom, though, has been spamming just Sacred Blade for the entirety of this invasion. It was the first move he did when he saw me. And then it'll probably be the last move he'll do when he sees me, before the host perishes. But he keeps trying to do Sacred Blade into a follow-up, and it's just not working out for him, because my weapon is fast enough where I can interrupt him. But you see the host here, he's running away. I think, oh, he's gonna go heal. But you'll notice, he disappears. And that's because he killed himself. He was so willing just to reset the enemies here, instead of just trying to kill me. that he killed himself. And, you know, he like clearly just didn't want to fight me. Because if he was scared of dying, like, you know, he wouldn't have jumped off the edge there. You know, if he died to me or if he died to fall damage, the result is the same. The enemies get reset, so it's not like he was scared of dying. He just really did not want to fight the invader, which is, I think what I realized after I got done with the invasion. I'm like, oh, he just didn't want to fight the invader. I thought he was just apprehensive, but no, he just, I guess he was apprehensive. He was apprehensive to engage with the invader, not because it was scary, just because he didn't want to. Anyways, this is the ending of the Messmer fight. A lot of his snake attacks are kinda weird. I don't know, they take up a lot of the screen, and I'm not really a fan of attacks like that, where it's just, your screen is blocked, but you know, I eventually get them. I point them down because 60 tries or whatever. But yeah, you know, fun fight. I would say, if the snakes were smaller, it probably would have been better. Anyways, here's the build. See ya.